is a real issue here, like Apple the other day. They just got to finally start shoveling cash back to shareholders?
There's always a painful transition in the marketplace when you go from a growth company to a mature company. This adolescence is painful for everybody when the market realizes that if Microsoft had continued to grow at the rates it was in the late 90s, it would effectively have its revenues would be the GDP of North America.
It would just,
but we still don't like to believe that these things are slowing down. In terms of how the efficient frontier and whether to return money in the form of a dividend, that's above my pay grade. I don't know the best way to optimize.
But the fact is, they did this last week. I thought it was a hugely, I mean, it's like Zvi Bodhi or whatever up at Boston University. It's a hallmark announcement to throw back $100 billion. That's very non-tech, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and it came over with a big thud, right? When they announced they were going to go out and borrow money and return more value to shareholders. But there's been a lot of comparisons between Microsoft and Apple, and I don't think the comparisons are apt. Microsoft has missed almost every major technology shift in the last 10 years, and I would argue that Apple has been the catalyst for those big shifts.
I'm glad you point that out, because one article that stood out to us in the New York Times last week compares Tim Cook and Steve Ballmer, the CEOs, both focused on delivering profit and revenues, and both have delivered, yet shareholders are questioning and the stock has fallen. Do you see any parallels here between the way that they're running the business?
So a fair point. Since Ballmer took over, profits have almost doubled. I think revenues have tripled or quadrupled, but the stock's been cut in half. But the rise of search, rise of mobile, rise of social, Microsoft's missed them all. And the CEO has to take accountability for that. Whereas the most exciting things the last 5 years, mobile, the iPhone, the iPad.
But there's
Apple's
this issue
there.
of vision when it comes to pricing an internet stock. How much is that factoring in, you think, in shareholders' view of Tim Cook and Steve Ballmer?
I don't think Tim Cook gets the credit he deserves, because the thing that made Apple the largest market cap company in the world was a combination of having the highest priced product and the largest market share. No other product. Imagine if Ferrari had the market share of General Motors. That's effectively what Apple was able to do. The company with the largest margins and the largest market share. The thing that Cook was able to do was the supply chain and the profitability was the best in the world. He doesn't really get enough credit for that.
Again, I'm going to go back to use of cash. Ballmer's messed this up massively. 4 years ago, they had 40% cash on their balance sheet. It's now up to 52%. What are they, a bank?
Well, but they have spent cash. They've actually lost $12 billion in online. So they're not afraid to shovel money at it. The problem is they're not getting it back.
I'll go with that. I love your idea if it's a shift to a mature company attitude. Are these the two right guys to do this, to shift?
You know, these guys, it's easy to heckle from the cheap seats. They're both outstanding professionals. And I think that Steve Ballmer is an outstanding. The question is the following. After 12 or 13 years at the helm, is it time for something different? Because that's a long time to be sitting in the CEO chair.
Yeah.
That's just a difficult job. Your inbox is never empty. So I would say Tim Cook has at least another 4 to 6 years. At some point in the next couple of years, Ballmer himself will start asking, do I really need this?